Hello, my friends. How are you this particular week? I hope you're well and looking forward to the weekend. I certainly am. Before we get to the trivia, and that'll be here in a momento, there will be some hi-fi news, and then after that, I'll be giving you future plans, as it were, some sort of future recording, scribbling news. So I thought I'd do a bit of that. Haven't done that in a little while. So about time. Hey, anyway, before we get to all of that, trivia. Now, last week I started the personal, social and health education questions, and we will continue with that. Last week I talked about marriage, and I'm going to talk about marriage once more. And the question is fairly short. What marriage links the J. Geils band? I think it's J. Geils, isn't it? That's how you pronounce the band. Anyway, the J. Geils band of Centerfold fame and the movie Chinatown. One more time. What marriage links the J. Geils band of Centerfold fame and the movie Chinatown? Have a little think. I will give you the answer at the end of this video. Before we get to the end, hi-fi news. And to begin, we have a all-in-one turntable thingy from Pro-Ject called the Jukebox E1. What you have here is a turntable, built-in phono amp, Bluetooth built in as well, and an integrated amplifier. So kind of think back to those music centers of the 70s, and you're somewhere in the same ballpark. Kinda. So it may not be true audiophile in nature, but it's far more audiophile than those older music centers of yore. So you're looking basically at a modified twin-speed E1 BT with Bluetooth included. That is, belt-driven turntable plus an OM5E cartridge from Audiophile, and that would normally cost you £369 with a removable lid. £369, a bit more expensive than a basic E1 because of Bluetooth. Now, in the press release for this jukebox thing, it says that you get an improved tone arm, improved head shell and motor, ABS platter, electronic speed change, as if all that's new. But I reckon it isn't. I think you get all of those with the E1 BT anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course, folks. So what you're getting, as I say, in addition to the actual turntable, well, the turntable itself has been modded, so you get some controls, you get a little volume knob on the front, you get a little readout window on the top of the plinth, and inside is a 2x50 watt amp, and that's controlled, as I say, manually, or you also get a remote control. So you're basically getting the BT version of the E1 plus an amplifier. The price, well, I have three for you: £599, €599, or $799. You can, if you wish, add a pair of speakers to the UK unit at least. Don't know about any other territory, only know about the UK territory, and that will involve, well, you'll have to pay an extra £200 for the privilege. So you're looking at a true all-in-one, as it were, for £799. Next, we have a rather brief news item from Apogee. They're talking about the Apogee Groove 40th Anniversary Edition. This is a portable 32-bit 192 kHz DAC and headphone amp. And that's basically it, because reading the press release, it talks a lot, but it doesn't say a lot. Yes, it works with internet music services. Apparently, it's supposed to sound better than ever, although I'm not exactly sure how or why. It does have multicolored lights for status info, Top panel buttons change and mute the volume. It has an aluminium chassis and it's built in the USA, although that says everything and nothing as well. It's apparently fully PC, iPhone and iPad friendly. Next, we're talking about the Nagra reference turntable. It's Nagra, so that means it's expensive, and this one certainly is, at $128,000. This one is Swiss made. It actually weighs 80 kilograms. It offers a carbon fiber uni pivot tone arm, which kind of surprises me a little bit at this price, but never mind. And that arm features on-the-fly VTA adjustment, which is very nice. People like VPI do this, always appreciated. There's a no contact anti-skate. You get copper tone arm wiring as well. Again, little surprise that it's copper, maybe expected silver perhaps, but no matter. The platter is made of aluminium, features a constrained damped design, has Alcantara platter mat on the top. Well, maybe it's not a matte, maybe it's bonded. I think it might be bonded, actually. I think it looks bonded. You also get a whopping copper stabilizer on the top. And again, I'm surprised. Why is it there? What's it fixing? At $128,000, why does this design even need one? Also, moving on. Also, it includes a floating mechanic and hydraulic suspension. I would have thought either or, not both. But hey, also has an external power supply. But look, I'm sort of grumbling about this, aren't I? And maybe I'm doing this thing a complete disservice. And I'm sure it sounds wonderful. But the spec list, it kind of sounds like a list to impress. A list of specs to justify the price. It's not a design I would have ticked. It would, not a design I would have approved, not one I would have said, not one I would have rubber stamped and said, okay guys, I like the look of that one, go for it. I would have asked questions. Like I say, I'm probably being totally unfair. It's my first impressions anyway. Next up, we're looking at Lenco, and if anything, I'm more impressed with the top-of-the-range Lenco here, this turntable, than the super expensive Nagra news. Why am I impressed with this Lenco? Well, Lenco are known for producing decently designed Chinese-made turntables. They're nice for the price and all that jazz, but this one kind of ups the ante, and if you look at the price, we're looking at a Lenco for £449 or $549 or 479 euros, and that really is stratosphere stuff for a Lenco. This is called the LBT 345WA. It's twin speed, presented with a gloss walnut veneer finish, includes an Audiophile 2M red, which again is odd for Lenco, upmarket for Lenco, the modern Lenco at any rate. Weighing 5 kilograms, it features a built-in phono amplifier that can be disabled, a USB socket, felt mat, detachable dust cover, plus a chrome plated stabilizer. Well, in this case, there may be a reason why there's a stabilizer, so we'll see. If I get to review this, we'll see if it's a valid choice, but I can sort of see why there might be one in this particular turntable. The tone arm, though, that's intriguing indeed, and it looks like a modified 120X tone arm. Kinda. if you squint a bit. That is, the base, the core, the center, the heart of this tone arm looks like a 120X, and then they've modded it. For example, on the Lenco, they've changed the, is it S-shaped or J-shaped? I think it's S-shaped arm on the 120X to a straight tube, for example. More than that, though, this particular arm, it's a carbon fiber arm. And again, startling stuff for Lenco. Now, I'm guessing this is a carbon fiber skin over an aluminium tube, just looking at the build budget here. But even so, it is quite startling. Now, this one may compete with the Pro-Ject Evo. Probably, though, the most sensible competitor would be an Audio-Technica deck, something like an LP W50PB, which reminds me I must give Audio-Technica a ring. Haven't reviewed one of their decks in a while. Anyway, that's your HiFi news. Let's go to Patreon news, for the want of a better title, and I think I do need a better title. Now, instead of the usual hint and tip, a couple of pieces of future reviews and future feature news. In the next couple of weeks, I'll be doing a two-part review thing with Graham Slee and its phono amplifiers. Now, I know Graham Slee does quite a few hi-fi products these days, but their speciality dish, you might say, is the phono amp. So I'm going to be reviewing an integrated moving coil phono amp from the company. Not this time, next week. Then the following week, I'm going to bring in a moving magnet phono amp along with a moving coil step-up transformer, and I'll review that. The big question, though, will be this. Will the integrated moving coil phono amp sound better or worse than the moving magnet with step-up combo? Now, the intriguing thing is, same company, basically same or very similar components, same design philosophy, same build skills, talent, quality. So the A-B comparison will be rather relevant, I would say. It'll be an intriguing conclusion to come to at the end of this, what will be, two-part review sequence. So look out for that. Also, on the cards, I'm not sure if it's right after the Graham Slee pairing, but I'm looking at doing a turntable review. This is from a company in Serbia, I think it is, called Aurus. Now, the reason why this particular company has piqued my interest is because of the pricing of some of these turntables. And I can't remember what they're called now. I think the blue is, I think it's the Aurus, I don't know if it's the Aurus Blue or the Aurus something or other blue, but that particular turntable is £500, and that will compete directly with the Evo at 500. And then there's another one priced at about 1,007. There's a few turntables here that will go head to head with a few well-known names. So I'd like to bring these Serbian turntables in. Often you will find that it's difficult for companies outside the UK to get a look in terms of retail space, marketing space, attention, that kind of thing, because everybody talks about Riga and everybody talks about Pro-Ject and that kind of thing. So it's difficult when you're out of that loop to get noticed. And I thought, give them a try, give them a fair shake. So I will. I'll bring in a blue and I'll see how that is. If I like the blue, I might try another one, see what else they do. Anyway, that will be at least 3 weeks away. It depends. It depends on supply and delivery and all that kind of thing. So 3 weeks, maybe 4. Now, finally, before I moved house, I was looking, and I'm sure I produced a kind of newsy thing here on Patreon. You may have read this, you may remember, but I was looking to produce a video on building a second system in my house and reporting on that exclusively for Patreon. But that never happened because, well, I moved house. So I'm thinking of doing that now all over again. And it's going to be a blend of audiophile and non-audiophile. And I'll explain why. I'm going to be using shelving and furniture that I find in my lounge, and that's where the second system is going to be based. I have my super duper reference in its own listening room. It's my job, that's my work, that's where that lives, and it's all rather. But I'm just thinking about a more relaxed, easygoing second system here, and that will use furniture that is in and around the lounge right now. This system will not dominate that room. Well, not too much at any rate, because, well, I'd still like to be on speaking terms with my wife, to be honest. And also because of the said lady, there will be no speakers with this one. It will be a headphone system only. Now, a lack of space is part of the reason for that particular route. This has to be compact-ish. Compact in terms of how far it comes out into the room, although I've got space to move left and right, you might say. So, while my good lady is watching her TV programs or she's quietly delving into one of her hobbies, I can be listening on my headphones. Now, this is a system with compromises, give and take. In other words, a real-world-ish system. I say ish because, well, I'll be using some rather nice components, so maybe not run-of-the-mill, you might say, but the circumstances and the framing is definitely real world. Now, I've been building this thing a little bit at a time, over time, and it's going to handle physical formats only. So that means vinyl, it means CD, but it also means cassette, and I want to start listening to cassettes all over again. Streaming isn't necessary, it's not a thing, so that will not be included. It's also one I'm building with spare components. Cabling that I don't need, isolation feet that are spare, bits and bobs, but there's also some interesting pairings in terms of tech. So, once I am up and running and everything is settled, I'll sort a video and we will talk about it. At least I hope we can have a bit of a chat. Anyway, so that's it, folks. That's the end of the video. Before we go, let's have an answer to that trivia question. And one more time, the question is, what marriage links the J. Geils Band of Centerfold fame and the movie Chinatown? And the answer is, the J. Geils Band lead singer, Peter Wolf, married actress Faye Dunaway, star of Chinatown, in August 1974 in Beverly Hills. They split up, as these celeb pairings tend to do, in 1978. So now you know. Next time around, I'm going to change the subject a little bit. I'm thinking about going for media studies in the next video, so tune in for that one. Anyway, thank you very much for staying to the end of this video. Thank you very much for joining me on this video at all, and I will be back next week, same time, same place, and I hope to have your company. Until then, folks, bye-bye for now.